Hey everyone, first of all I'd like to say thanks to all the new subscribers. I know I haven't been around much lately. I had to relocate shops if you can't tell. So I spent the last month and a bit mostly doing that. Kind of pain in the butt. So this video I'd just like to talk about what I've done to finish the machine off. As you can see, I've got the top here. Top, this is just 5/8. There's a mixture of oak, beech, sassafras, and then MDF, 1/2 inch piece underneath, so these boards are screwed in from the bottom. And then on the top, just have some counterboard holes go into the solid frame. That's what keeps the top on, so 8 bolts, it'll come off. I'm going to talk about the router mount and these little wooden brackets I made up, as well as the computer monitor, and I'll go over the panel. The only thing is we're waiting on is this E-track, cable track. I should have ordered 2 when I got this one. I just only ordered 1. I got 2 different sizes, but the other one just didn't want to show up, so oh well, we'll live and learn. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. We'll talk a bit about the machine, and hopefully it'll inspire you guys when you build your own. I lost my cameraman too, so that doesn't make stuff easy at all. But that's alright, we're still friends. Just cut 2 different lengths of threaded rod. I have a T-nut here from Busy Bee Tools. T-nut slides into this rabbet on the desk, and as you can see, put that in, spin the clamp down, and then I've just made a few of these brackets up. Make these brackets out of wood as well, because if you ever crash your machine like I did here, it won't damage the bit, it'll just take out some of the wood. So different lengths for different heights of material, and sometimes if it's too high you have to put a little spacer on this end, which isn't a problem. Get those out of the way. So I've made 8 of them for now. I don't think I'm going to need any more for the time being. Here's the router mount that I made. This is made out of 1 piece of wood. Just used a bandsaw to cut this profile out. Here I used a hole saw, so I came at it not a hole saw, I should say one of those weird single cutters. Came through it halfway, flipped the part over, came through it the other halfway. You can see the bump right there. Pretty sketchy, but we managed. So now the problem is when the router went in here, this was clamping. As you can see, the wood is flexing. Well, when the router was vibrating, I actually cracked this piece of wood right here. You can see the glue joint. And the reason that being is because this is 1 solid piece of wood, so because the grain is so short right there, I just decided to snap. So luckily, while I had this temporary fixed, I used the CNC machine to cut this one out. Now this one is out of laminated, so there's 3 pieces of wood, 1, 2, 3, I think they're 5/8, 1/2, and 5/8. Is that right? No, 3/4, 3/4, and 5/8 to make. This is, I think this is roughly 1 and 3/4 or 2 inches. I can't remember. So I made that hole right there for the router to fit in. That's extremely tight. As you can see, the crack here is very small, so there's not much vibrating. I don't think it's going to snap because we have different grain structure. Another thing too is, see, this one is on an angle here, whereas this one I left straight. So I left a lot more meat here, and then I just counterbored that hole, so that hole is counterbored, say about yay. And excuse me. So that's pretty sturdy there. This here was the original back piece. So this is out of 5/8 white oak. Not a very big dado here. As you can see, this one's a little bit thicker, so a little bit stronger. The problem was, you can tell by the length, my machine was about 1 inch lower. So I was getting errors because when you raise it up, you don't get as much clearance under the bit. So this new one, I made a little bit shorter, so about 1.5 inches shorter. It's out of a thicker piece of wood. This is just over 3/4, so it's sturdier. so I can get more play out of the machine. Also, this wire is obviously going to be up here in the cat track. I just still waiting on that, god damn it. On the back end of the machine, I've added a strong piece of angle right here, and that attaches to this HSS, which holds the Z-axis gantry. Reason being, I was noticing that this HSS was flexing right in the middle. So my thought was, if I add this 1x1 by 1/4 inch thick angle here, that's going to sturdy up this HSS, and it won't have that flex as much. I haven't tried it out in production yet. Maybe I'll do that later today. But so far I think it's helped just a little. And I've gone underneath and I've just bolted it. I didn't want to weld any of the paint, and it stops it from warping with the heat as well. So this might be something to think about when you're building your own. This HSS is only 1x1/8 thick, and it does flex. So I don't know if you have to go up to 3/16 thick, or maybe 1.5 by 1.5 by 3/16, whatever. Something to think about. Here's a close-up view of the computer stand. This is just a solid 3/8 or 3/4 rod. Look at that, I got bird shit or something on there. 3/4 inch solid rod. This is a piece of just extra pipe I had kicked around. Welded a nut to it. A little T-nut or T-bolt there. This just slides up and down. Well, it's day 2 here. Ran out of time day 1. Here's an update on the panel. I just wanted to say that I changed a relay contact from the PLC to a ABB contactor. And I also added a filter here to the front, just to keep the sawdust out. This one blows out, so I didn't put a filter on it. So the way this works is when you push the on button, the green button on the front, pull the e-stop out. Logic in the PLC turns this old computer supply on. Computer supply powers this 24 volt contactor. In the contactor, it turns on this main power supply for the steppers. Up here in this corner, there's a 120 volt power supply. Originally I had it coming through this PLC, just a relay on off, but I changed that so that the logic now from the PLC turns this contactor on, and you can just see 120 volts coming in there. The PLC is also interconnected with the breakout board. This is just a parallel port coming from the computer, and I have an override on the PLC so I can manually override the router. So I'm just gonna, so there you can see that turn on. Basically that's, the panel's done for now. Maybe one day, like I said, I'll get this VFD going, but that's it for now.